This is the Dreame Aqua 10 Ultra RoboVac, and let me just list some of the big features here before I show you how well it works and what it does. So for one, it's coming with a aqua roll mopping feature. So that means it's coming with a roller mop on the bottom. And if we take it out and I spin this around, you can see that roller mop right here. And the secret of this roller mop is that it's going to be able to extract water off your floor into an internal water tank so that it's going to be able to mop your floors better like a wet dry vacuum than just a mop that's using some of those spin pads or using just a regular flat pad. And the feature on the aqua roll mopping system is that you can easily pop it out just by pressing the button here, and you can take it out. And it basically looks just like a wet dry vacuum. There's going to be a motor that's going to rotate it, and this goes up and down so you can clean the inside here. You're going to have this fluffer, so this tool is ultimately what's scraping your roller mop so that it's not going to have any debris on it. You have some detangling comb here that's going to remove any of the hairs, and this is going to be a little bit soft to the touch, as well as everything comes in one piece so that this can move left and right. So this will be able to extend outward when you're using it, and it's going to use a kind of like an S pattern to get closer into the corners. That's not going to be as effective in terms of reaching the corners as what you would get if you just had a spin pad here for mopping. That's going to be able to extend outward further. It's easy to put everything back together. You just have to reinsert this in. Just lock it in here, pop it in,
mop pad installed,
and pop that in. So the navigation system here is going to be running on NVIDIA chips. So they call it the Omni Sight System 2.0. So we have dual 160-degree high-resolution cameras right here that are combining with their 360-degree retractable LiDAR system up top so that it can get a better view of everything around it. And because of that, it's able to detect up to 240 different obstacles, and that means you're going to have better sensor technology as well as better object identification, so you're not going to get stuck in one place and it's not going to get confused. And if you're talking about the weight of your Aqua 10, this is actually very heavy. So this is one of the heaviest vacuums or RoboVacs I've ever used, and it places about 18N amount of pressure on the floor because it can put so much pressure on the floor because it's so heavy. The features here are very interesting though because it depends on what you're using it for. If you're using this as a vacuum, it's coming with 30,000 pascals of suction. And because it's so heavy, if you have this set and it's all on and it's placing all that weight on the floor, this is going to do a great job just getting deep into the carpet fibers and removing any of the debris inside the floor or your carpets. So for that, it's one of the best. But if you're using this for mopping, and this is where it gets quite interesting, for mopping intensity, you have the ability to adjust it from intense to less intense. So that means based on how much pressure you want it on the ground, it's going to impact how effective it is at removing stains on your tile or your hardwood or any of your sealed floors. The one catch is that if your Dreame is picking up liquids off the floor, I did find that it is prone to leaking. So we had some spillage, and you can see some spillage not just on the tires but around our clean station, and when we picked things up we just found things are dripping. So things were dripping all around, and that's interesting considering that that's preventable because we do not have those issues on something like the Narwhal Flow, and we did not have those issues on the MOVA Z60, which is basically the sister version of the Dreame. Another interesting thing is that your Dreame will auto adjust its height all the time. So depending on what it's doing, you will find that it's like adjusting itself like a little bit up, a little bit down. For carpets, that's great because that's going to help it navigate, especially high pill carpet, better because it can pick itself's wheels up and then vacuum instead of just getting bogged down and getting stuck. But when you're talking about mopping, this will actually adjust itself irregularly, like it'll just go up and down sometimes, and it's confusing. It doesn't make any sense why it does that. It just does it sometimes. So I've been testing mine for about 2 weeks here, and it's happened to me regularly, so I just have to point that out. The other thing I have to point out about the Dreame Aqua 10 is that the navigation system, because it's supposedly paired with that NVIDIA chip, it is actually making too many decisions, in my opinion, for it to do a effective job quickly. And that seriously impacts the overall battery life. So because this is so heavy, it does take more battery and power so that it can navigate, it can move up and down, so it can spin all the components inside. And in my estimation, you're really getting about 110 minutes, maybe 120 minutes of runtime if you're using this just on vacuuming. But if you're using this on vacuuming and mopping, you're really going to average closer to about 90 minutes, maybe 100 minutes before the battery is drained. And that's really just enough to do a house that might be about 800, 900 square feet for the floor. Because once it hits about 15%, even if you wanted to finish out the battery, it's going to go back to its base station and have to recharge itself. And that also means that because it doesn't make the decisions as quickly, because it's kind of doing areas like strangely where it's going to make decisions that might seem irrational, and it's going to get confused sometimes, it sometimes won't finish the entire session. So my floor here is not that big, and it's maybe about 750 square feet. I haven't had a robo vacuum have a hard time finishing my floors, be it with mopping, vacuuming, or vacuuming mopping, ever. But the Dreame, sometimes it doesn't finish the session and it has to go back to charge before it will finish the session. Because it mops and it has that dirt detection system inside of the clean station, even though the water is not that dirty, it will run out of clean water quickly, or the dirty water tank will be filled too fast. So you have to keep your eyes on this. And that's because the tank systems are not that big. It's not that big so that these will drain faster, be used faster, and your dirty tank will get filled faster. And that actually drives me crazy. I wish these were a little bit bigger. So I wish the Dreame Aqua 10 came with either larger tanks or the NVIDIA obstacle navigation system, whatever they're going to call it, was doing a better job at making its mind up. So then it just makes so many awkward passes or wastes so much time on navigating your home, because it really does do some strange things when it comes to navigation. I do like that you have that indicator bar here that's going to let you know what's happening with your Dreame Aqua 10. The Dreame Aqua 10 comes with the Hyperstream Detangling Duo Brush, something we see on our X50. That's going to be coming with 2 brushes here, so that if you do have long hair, it's not going to get tangled. And one brush is going to have those softer silicone bristles, and the other brush has these nylon silicone bristles. And similar to what we see on the X50, this comes with a triple wheel AgriLift chassis lift. So this is a 3-wheeled system. It can better climb over obstacles because there's going to be multi-tier system. So it not only can push itself up, but it can push itself forward. In real world use, I would not recommend this over obstacles over 2 inches, because you're going to do a real fast job just banging all the corners as well as any of the edges in your thresholds. So this is really suited for, I would say, thresholds up to 2 inches. One of the things that a lot of people don't talk about necessarily is that on your Dreame Aqua 10, it's going to be coming with a tank on the back. So this is going to be that dirty water tank.
Water tank of the robot removed.
So this is that used water tank. Now, the secret of it is that it is not clear. So it's hard to see if this is truly dirty. You're going to have to open it, and I cleaned mine, but you're going to have to open it and see how dirty it is. So after about 3 days of not cleaning the dirty water tank, you can see that you definitely want to clean it regularly, maybe even after every 1 or 2 sessions. And one of the other features I've noticed about the Dreame Aqua 10 is that even though it has enough space to go in between gaps, let's say between your carpet and your hardwood and a table, it actually opts not to a lot of times because it doesn't know what to do. And then it suddenly decides, okay, I'm going to go on that carpet. But in that moment, it won't retract the roller. So it will make some spontaneous decisions that are irregular, because I guess it's going to overrule itself based on what the NVIDIA system and the detection systems are telling it. And it will take a while to come back because it's going to say, okay, I want to go this way or that way, instead of always doing the most efficient path that it should remember every time. Next, the Dreame Aqua 10 Ultra updated how the bag systems work. So this is going to be your bag, but this is going to be able to be fluffed up. So they have a bag fluffer here that automatically dries it at 122 degrees. So they have a heater that's going to be heating up the bag. And another thing they updated is going to be on the detergent tanks. So now there's going to be 2 detergent tanks. So what I found is that for A, it's really using that for the solution when it goes out to mop. So this is what the roller is going to be saturated in. And for B, that's what it's using when it wants to control the odors. So when your unit comes back after a session and it's cleaning its mop pads, then it's going to be using the solution in B. The reason why my roller mop looks so clean is that it uses 212 degree water inside the tank here that's going to be able to actively heat up, and that's what's going to be effectively cleaning this inside of the clean station. But the clean station even has its own tricks. So we're just going to take a measurement of the bar here, and we're getting about 153 degrees, so you know it is hot in there for the roller mop pad. The cleaning tray system has been updated, but it doesn't necessarily make it easier for maintenance. So you are sacrificing some of the benefits of having a fully removable tray to have that heating bar. So in order to maintain this, you're going to clean this in the sink, and then you're going to come back and take a towel and wipe all of this down every 2 to 3 sessions. If you do not, you will notice that this area is more likely to have odors and it's going to be dirty. So I just cleaned it, and you can see that after running 1 session, I still have some dried water stains. It's still not perfectly clean. I gotta clean it again. The app experience for your Dreame Aqua 10 Ultra Roller is going to be very simple. It's going to mirror what you get from the other Dreamies out there, like the X50, the X40, the X30, the DreamBot L20, the L10S, and other Dreamies out there. So this is going to be the most advanced, and then when you press on it, it's going to give you your map. And if you want to see how often and how frequently I use it on my home, well, look at that cleaning history. It says 1027 minutes, that's 18 cycles. You can see the duration of these cycles is going to be from 75, 94, 68. The catch about the Dreame experience is that on the Aqua 10, you would think that it finishes almost every session. But you can see that I have sessions that are 83 minutes as well as 94, 75 minutes where it failed. And it fails because either it failed because of the inability to adjust to a new threshold, the same threshold that it's been doing, but according to the Dreame, it was just stuck there. In the overall sessions that it did complete, it did a good job. And you can see that it does a good job finding different obstacles as well as the pathing. But in areas that are going to feel a little bit irregular to the robot vacuum, you can see how squiggly the lines get. It doesn't keep this very linear path, this very predictable path for all the areas of my home. This is on a quick section. Here, it did do a pretty okay job, but on the carpets, it just gave up on certain areas. And this was a trend I noticed with the Aqua 10, where you just had sessions where it was doing something on its own. It wasn't doing a bad job per se, because it can recognize things like obstacles. It does recognize where your shoes are. It recognizes thresholds. And if you look at the Roborock app, I just am testing at the same time the Curve X. And the Curve X, if I go to my records, right, I go to my history, you can see that I'm just going to pull up a session where it was vacuuming and mopping. Here, this session is just way more predictable. The Roborock did everything just about the same way every session that I tried it on. So you can see that even with the mopping, even with the vacuuming, it might not respond or notice as many obstacles, but the predictability of the Roborock navigation was better than what you see on the Dreame Aqua 10. If you're talking about the overall app experience on your Dreame Aqua 10 Ultra, you can see that you have the ability to go from room, all, and zone. And each one of these can be set, so you can do Clean Genius, which is going to be the AI mode. But me personally, I recommend you just do it on custom. You can decide if you wanted vacuum, mop, vac mop, mop after vac, and customize room cleaning. For most people, customized room cleaning is going to be the best way, because then you can decide what happens in each room. So in my case, I don't need my wood floors being mopped all the time, so I generally have that on just vacuum. But for my kitchen, I do have that on vac mop. I put it on standard, Wetness, I'm going to put it at 11, and then I can decide if I want it to be light, normal, or intense in terms of the mop pressure and how many cycles I want it to handle. And you can do that for each of your different rooms here, and that allows you to make a fully customizable setting. So we're going to go back, and then what other things you can do is that if you go into your settings, and inside your settings, you're going to have things like cleaning history, schedule cleanup, but go into carpet settings, because here you can decide vacuum, avoid, ignore, or crossing carpets. Just remember, your unit is large, so if you have it to do avoid the carpet during cleaning, it will potentially get stuck because it doesn't want to cross thresholds, or it doesn't want to cross areas that are not wide enough or wider than the RoboVacuum themselves. So then it can't reach its clean station because it's going to get stuck. The other thing is you do the floor cleaning settings. You can adjust the auto lifting LDS. You can adjust this low clearance area cleaning frequency, and that's related to its retractable LiDAR. You have things like collision avoidance mode. You have things like auto cleaning or auto re-cleaning. Now in this auto re-cleaning, it only works in Clean Genius deep cleaning mode, or it works in both Clean Genius modes. But if you have it on manual, it will not auto re-clean. And you have cleaning along the floor direction, you have dynamic obstacle area cleaning, and I recommend you activate the stain recognition, because stain recognition is going to recognize stains on the ground such as soy sauce, and it can perform an intensive mopping. So it just makes it more effective for mopping, and you have large particle boost. So if it detects large particles, it's going to improve. It's just really doing a grid around that, and it's going to make more suction power or turn up its suction power so it does a better job. And then finally, you can go to your pet care, your AI-driven mop extend, your obstacle crossing, so you can do hurdle or synchronized obstacle crossing, and you have your dock settings, so you can decide how you want it to clean, the frequency you want it to clean at, as well as the hot air drying for your dust bag. So you can decide if you want the dock to clean your dust bag and dry it out in case you're picking up a lot of wet debris. So other than that, everything else is just about the same. The overall app experience for your Dreame Aqua 10 is really mirroring what you already get on the Dreame X50 as well as the L50 or even the L40. So ultimately, what's my verdict on the Dreame Aqua 10? It's going to be a very good vacuum. It's powerful. It comes with 30,000 pascal of suction. It does make a good seal on your floor. It's going to be very heavy, so vacuuming is one of its best features. Its AI navigation will allow it to sense large particles, so that it picks up the large particles and then it'll come back and use its extendable side brush to pick up everything else. That's great. I think for the mopping, there are some drawbacks to having this particular version of the mopping in this roller. It just feels like it's a little bit rushed. I wish they had made the fluffy brush removable. I wish the bar could be removable that's protecting the carpet. I wish some of these parts were just a little bit more sophisticated, just more efficient. But the biggest knock for me is that even though it's coming with that, even though it comes with that NVIDIA chip, even though it has the most advanced obstacle detection system I've tried at 240 objects detected, even though it comes with dual 160D camera resolution with that retractable LiDAR, and it senses your home very quickly, it maps very quickly, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is able to efficiently vacuum and mop your home very quickly. It takes a long time, it kind of runs out of battery a lot, and it is prone to getting stuck because it will sense things like my extension cord here, and then it'll sense that, okay, today I'm going to try to climb over it. And then other days it's going to say I'm going to try to avoid it, even though you have it at the avoiding setting. So it has a mind of its own, and I feel like that's one of the drawbacks here. The Dreame Aqua 10 has a mind of its own. It'll make decisions differently, and it's not as consistent in terms of the overall performance that you would expect from a Dreame. Because compared to my X40 and X50, which, be it might not be the best robo vacuums today, they never get stuck. They're just very good at sensing what's in front of it and going around it. This guy, it just kind of tries to decide, okay, this is better, that's better, and I think it's just trusting the technology too much and over complicating it instead of going simple, which is if something's in front of it, it doesn't think it can get around it, avoid it. If it's something it can get around, clean around it. And these are the simple things that other robo vacuums can do, which our Dreame Aqua 10 has a hard time doing. So do I recommend it? Yes, I like it. I think if you get this at a good price, it could be a good buy. But do I think it's perfect? No. Do I have failed sessions with it? Definitely. And is it going to look good in your home? Yes, it looks good, but it's not as looking good that matters. It's about the trust and the consistency of your robo vacuum to always perform its tasks. So in my opinion, this is going to be a 8 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. This is Dave with the French Glow. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and please hit that like or subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. I know a lot of people said such great things about the Dreame Aqua 10, but I find that it's just a little bit unfinished. And I think the next generation of the Aqua 10 might be Dreame's best flagship model. And that's just because they're going to fix all the problems with this one. So with that, I'll catch you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.